Hi everyone, welcome to our channel. Today we are tackling one of the most famous conspiracy theories, the moon landing. It's hard to believe that even today, more than 50 years after this historic moment, there are still people who believe that the Apollo 11 landing in 1969 was a hoax. In this video, we will look at the most common conspiracies and explain why they are incorrect. Conspirators claim that the moon landing was filmed in a studio, that there are no stars in the photos, the flag on the moon is waving, and shadow anomalies suggest the use of multiple light sources. Let's look at each of these theories and explain why they are not true. The moon landing was filmed in a studio, possibly with the help of director Stanley Kubrick. This theory is based on the assumption that NASA did not have the technology to send people to the moon. However, we have ample evidence that the Apollo missions were successful. Various space agencies, including those from Russia and China, have confirmed that Apollo 11 did indeed land on the moon. Furthermore, modern telescopes and satellites can still capture the traces left by the astronauts on the moon. Astronauts left various scientific instruments on the moon, such as reflectors for laser ranging, which are still used to measure the distance between the Earth and the moon. These experiments provide ongoing evidence of human activity on the moon. There are no stars visible in the moon photos, suggesting they were taken in a studio. Explanation: stars are not visible in the moon photos due to the camera settings used. The astronauts use short exposure times and narrow apertures to properly capture the moon's surface and objects on it. Stars, being much dimmer, simply did not appear in the photographs. The American flag on the moon is waving, which should not be possible in a vacuum. The flag appears to be waving because it had a horizontal rod to keep it extended. The flag also moved when the astronauts were inserting it into the moon's surface. In the vacuum environment, motion does not stop quickly, so the flag continued to oscillate for a while. On Earth, flags wave due to the interaction with the atmosphere. The air flows around the flag, causing it to flutter. This movement is quickly dampened by the air resistance. Even a slight breeze can cause a flag on Earth to move continuously. In contrast, the moon has no atmosphere, which means there is no wind to create such movements. Therefore, any motion of the flag is due solely to the physical interaction of the astronauts. Additionally, in the vacuum of space without air resistance, once the flag is set in motion, it takes longer to come to a stop. This is because, in the absence of an atmosphere, there are no molecules to collide with the flag and slow it down. Another key difference is gravity. The moon's gravity is about 1/6 that of Earth's. This lower gravity means objects fall more slowly and can maintain motion longer in the absence of other forces acting on them. When the astronauts planted the flag and it started to move, the combination of no air resistance and lower gravity allowed the flag to continue oscillating for a longer period than it would on Earth. These factors together explain why the flag on the moon appears to wave despite the lack of wind. The use of a horizontal rod to extend the flag, the initial motion from the astronauts handling, the vacuum environment, and the reduced lunar gravity all contribute to the unique behavior observed. Shadow anomalies in some photos suggest the use of multiple light sources, as in a studio. Shadow anomalies are caused by the uneven terrain on the moon and a single strong light source, the sun. Shadow lines can appear inconsistent due to the perspective and the various angles of the moon's surface. To verify that the lighting on the moon during the Apollo missions was real and not created in a studio, you can conduct a simple experiment with light and shadows. This experiment will help understand why shadow anomalies in the moon photos are not evidence of multiple light sources. I will describe how you can try this experiment at home in the video description. Conspiracists claim that the recording of the Apollo lunar module's liftoff from the moon's surface was a hoax because it was impossible for the camera to follow its ascent. This footage was recorded using a remotely controlled camera, which was operated by the astronauts from the lunar module. The camera was programmed and controlled from Earth to track the module's liftoff. This technology was part of the equipment NASA used and is well documented. How is it possible that NASA could land on the moon in the 60s and 70s, but cannot replicate it now? The Apollo missions were the result of enormous financial and human resources deployed during the Cold War when the U.S. was competing with the Soviet Union in the space race. After successfully landing on the moon, political and financial priorities shifted. The technologies and infrastructure from that era are no longer available and must be redeveloped for modern missions. NASA and other agencies such as SpaceX are actively working on returning to the moon, utilizing new technologies and innovations. So as we have seen, conspiracy theories about the moon landing do not hold up. Science and evidence clearly support the historical success of Apollo 11 and all subsequent Apollo missions. I hope you enjoyed this video and that it helped to clarify some myths. If you have any questions or other topics you would like to hear about, let us know in the comments. Don't forget to like and subscribe.